Welcome back. Greetings, Starfighters. Welcome to Mad Science Films. I'm Jimmy P, filmmaker and sexual astronaut. First up, please check out our fourth feature film for free over on YouTube. Just search for Little Monster or click on the link in the show notes below. This episode, I'm joined by a very special guest, a founding member of the Welsh production company powerhouse, Broadside Productions, and recipient of his very own Mad Science Films theme tune, Mr. Dan Bailey.
Dan Bailey.
It's interesting you said you've got like a roadmap, obviously, for where you've been and then where you want to go. So is the main feature of that roadmap then producing feature films, narrative feature films going forward?
Yeah, that is the goal. In the future, we've always discussed, and I know, the other kind of people within the company who are very passionate about, when we were younger, especially living in Carmarthen, we were really we felt that we were a little bit deprived of any kind of, the education system. We felt like they failed us in the kind of creative medium. There are some schools that do really well with creativity, but down where we are from in Carmarthen, it's not perceived, going into sort of film and TV or whatever, it's not really perceived as a proper job. If I had a pound when I was growing up of, but when you're going to get a proper job, or is this a proper job, or what can you do with these skills? When I was getting university, some people think that, the fairies create the TV content that they watch every night on television. Do you know what I mean? And it gets under my skin, but we don't get that anymore because obviously we've kind of had to prove ourselves to the people who don't really get it. But that's fine. That's just the life they live. They don't understand. And, if you don't understand something, then how can you have an opinion, or how can you, talk about it and see what happens? It's one of those industries that not many people know about. Quite a lot of people, look at all my friends who aren't in the industry, you see, they'll be in Cardiff with the Havoc recently, and they, oh my god, we saw people filming it, and we had to go up and we took some photos, and I was like, I know, that's really cool, guys, really cool. It's like if I walk past, it would be like, oh, nice. Yeah. It's a job at the end of the day, isn't it? Yeah. So, and you see other people doing a job.
You tend to eye up their nicer kit, don't you? You're like,
you see
what I could do with that set of lights.
Yeah. And you might be like, wave at somebody you notice on the shoot, and because you get to know people around in South Wales. It's like if you worked in Tesco's, you went to Sainsbury's. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't start taking photos. It's just another supermarket, but. I think we've always wanted to, like we said, I awful at tangenting off, but we've always wanted to, as we felt like we didn't give many opportunities when we were kids to actually kids, but going into adults, to actually get opportunities into this industry. And I was very lucky. I had one or two people, maybe three people in my life. If I didn't have them, I wouldn't be where I was today. Those people. Were the people who gave me the lift up and just gave me the opportunity to be me in the filmmaking sort of way. But not everybody gets that. Lots of people get put down. Lots of people come from backgrounds where they're very manual labor jobs, and it's like, oh no, you need to get a proper job. That awful word of proper job, because what is a proper job these days? But yeah, I think what we've wanted to do always, especially in where we've come from, is open up kind of workshops and development courses or whatever, where in the future, so that for young people who really want to get into film and TV or any kind of creative art like music, and because you pick up contacts through the creative arts. Yeah. You pick up contacts from artists and musicians, because you need all those people to in film. Films without music, it isn't a film for me. Yeah. Unless it really is stylistically chosen to have no music, which can also work. But, a feature film will have a little bit of music, no matter where it is. Yeah. So it's working within sort of with young people and getting them into the creative industry they want to get to, and giving them that leg up that we never really, or we had to really strive to get ourselves, rather than helping them and just creating more of a vibe around South Wales. And not, if people learn their trade in Carmarthen and then go away to Cardiff or London or Manchester, that's fine, but they're from Carmarthen, they were given the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's something we want to go into in the future. But yeah, I think, at the moment we are striving for features. We are hungry for features. Don't get me wrong. If there's a short film or a music video or even a corporate video that comes our way with a bit of a budget, that we feel like we can really do a good job, we'll take it. We're not snobby or anything. We're more than happy to work on anything. And if we've got mates who are working on it and it's a mates project, we'll more than likely do it for no money. Because they're our mates. And I think we like to look after our mates, because then, in the future we might need them to look after us. So it's never, we want to build bridges, never burn bridges down.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. It's great, the idea, that you're talking about actually kind of giving back, to the next generation of filmmakers, and that's brilliant. And that's not something that you hear a lot of, to be honest. So, no, that's fantastic. But that's more of like a longer term goal then, really. So the next few steps is bigger budgets, features is the main kind of target. So again, you were talking about obviously other shorts and other things you've worked on. Did you shoot Jackdaw last year or this year?
Jackdaw was shot this year.
Oh, okay. And how did that come about?
It was an absolute, so it came about November, about a year ago now, actually. November last year. DOP that we use a lot, and you'll know him, Andy Tuvey. And I can't sing his praises enough. If you're looking for a DOP, Andy Tuvey's the man. He was on board. So basically, Mac Nixon, he had gone through the Film Cymru Wales Beacon application, and he'd been successful. He got the green light. He was one of the 6 scripts that get picked. And then he brought a fine man called Ed Casey on, who is he's a wonderful man, and he was on board, but he actually works full time in a job that's not part of the industry, and so he was a bit sort of like, I can't do this by myself. So they had a chat with Andy, and Andy recommended us at Broadside. So they got in contact, and we had a little Zoom meeting at the time. Obviously, that was the month that we were meant to have shot Protein, but obviously we'd moved it by then. So we were kind of like, they sold it to us really well. Mac's very good at explaining his vision and how he wants something to look, and then Ed's is very, very good. Me and Ed are very similar in the fact of, we know what we want, we know how we're going to get it, and this is the way it is. And he was very good, and I was very kind of attracted to the way that they came across. So it was me and Tom at the time. So our third director, Ridian, works a lot in theatre, so he's not always around to in those discussions. But that's kind of arrangement we've kind of come to as a team. So at the time, me and Tom were there, and we went away and we discussed it, and we really thought hard, because we thought it was such a great opportunity. A short film with a good budget, for a short film. Is backed. It's going to be. It gets broadcast on the BBC next year. Broadside having a broadcast credit as a production company in association to BBC Wales, which was fantastic. The only thing that was putting us off was the fact that me and Tom were producing Protein, and we were like, well, if we split, because we got a good team, but they're all kind of coming through as producers, and they've not done as big a stuff as we have. So what we decided to do is that we thought Jackdaw was too much of a good opportunity to miss. So we decided that me and Tom would split for the first time as a couple. Wow. And go on to different projects. And so I decided that so Tom would stay on. Well, I didn't decide this, but me and Tom decided that Tom would stay on Protein, and we would then move Kerry Evans into a producer's role. I think he was already assisting us in the production, but we moved him into sort of production while I went on to Jackdaw, and then I brought Jan with me as assistant producer. So me and Ed produced, and then Jan assisted us. So we had, because there were still responsibilities I had on Protein that I had to juggle both Jackdaw and Protein, because obviously I'd done what, nearly 18 months of pre-production. I can't just hand all that over to Kerry. You know, there's a lot of things, a lot of people I've been dealt with, a lot of paperwork that I've signed that I then have to deal with, insurance and stuff like that. So it was quite difficult to start with, juggling the both. And then as I got close to Jackdaw then, because we shot Jackdaw in March. Yeah, we shot Jackdaw in March. So as it was like a month before March, completely handed everything over to Kerry. Anything came my way, I just like CC'd Kerry in to every email kind of thing. And I was on Jackdaw full time for a month then in March. Yeah, I mean, Jackdaw, you've seen it, haven't you? And
Yeah.
I'm very proud of Jackdaw. I think I put, like I said, it's the first time I ever came, I've come away from Tom as well. So me and him, you know, it sounds odd, but me and him are a double act, you know, when we produce, you get me and Tom, you don't just get one of us. So it was the first time, you know, I had to make decisions. I obviously had Jan and Ed, but I made decisions, you know, I was leading on a lot of things that I would normally consult Tom with, but I was just making decisions by myself. It was a really good learning curve for me, actually. And yeah, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into Jackdaw because obviously with the fact that we could really, you know, with Max Vision as a director, he's a cracking director. If you want, you know, he's, you know, and Ed as well. Ed's awesome at just doing paperwork and cracking on, and he's really good. He was a really good person to work with because really good support for us as sort of younger filmmakers coming through. But yeah, we really put our blood, sweat, and tears into Jackdaw. It was really difficult shoot for a week. Really difficult. We had more locations than we did days. But yeah, it was really good fun actually, and I mean, I really like the film. I don't know, you've seen it. I don't know if you enjoyed it. Or...
It's a beautiful looking film. But what I particularly love about it in terms of in relation to Broadside is, yeah, you know, you guys assess the project, what it would mean for your production company, and went, yeah, okay, so working with, you know, a big budget for a short, working with beacons, working with screening something, getting a broadcast credit, that's worth doing. And you took a gamble in terms of then, you know, splitting the team up, you know, working at in theory reduced capacity, but still came up with, I mean, I haven't seen Protein, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah. 2 really slick projects that were in production around about the same time. So yeah, no, hats off to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, when I came off Jackdaw, we already organised the fact that with Jackdaw and Protein, we had told Mac and Ed that as soon as we wrap production on Jackdaw, me and Jan are off. We have to go on to Protein because then, you know, Protein, I think was filming, the first day of film was like the 9th of April, and we wrapped Jackdaw on the 15th of March. So we had 3 weeks. So me and Jan jumped into Protein and literally, you know, did that whole kind of mad month before each production. So we've gone from one production to another really, or we've gone from one production to another and back onto the production. So there was the 4 of us then sort of just madly putting things together. But yeah, it was a big kind of decision for us as a team. It was, and
something you would do again.
Absolutely. And I cannot like, I'm so proud of the fact that we did that, but also the fact that we used our team as our resources in our team. And now, you know, with the experience that Johan and Kerry got from those 2 projects, and me and Tom, we now very much like, if we had 3 projects or even 4 projects on the go, there's 4 of us that can take those projects on, you know, produce individually.
That's right.
You know, we've got a team of producers now, or at least people who are capable.
Yeah, no, I love that. I absolutely love the idea that you're exponentially growing your capacity, while also training up the rest of the team at the same time. So yeah,
and it is a gamble. It is a gamble, you know, but it's a gamble that's you've got to take if you want. You know, you can't always play safe for these things. You've got to take risks. You know, you can't. You know, you've got to put yourself in those positions where if it goes wrong, that's the biggest thing. It's great when it goes right. When it goes right, everyone's you know, loves each other and everyone's big hugs, and it was before 2020 anyway. Yeah. But everyone was big happy smiles. If it goes wrong, you've got to be in the position to also deal with that as well. I think that's the biggest thing as well. Everyone loves being successful. Everyone loves it. Why wouldn't you? But I think the biggest thing is how you deal with something when it doesn't work, and how you handle yourself and how you take responsibility of a situation. So, for example, if it didn't work and we split up and both say Jackdaw didn't come out the way it should have done because of we would split ourselves too thin, or the people we brought in to sort of help us and support us weren't up to the job, then we would have had to take that on the chin as me and Tom, and we have to go, look, we hold our hands up and we take responsibility for that. And it's not only affected us as filmmakers, but it's affected other people and their progression, their careers. And that's how you've got to think about it. You've got to think about how you affect other people. It's not just about yourself. It's not just about creating jobs and success for yourself. It's about that snowball effect of your actions affecting other people and other people who have worked hard to get to that position. Yeah. And if you're in a position where you can affect that person, you've got to be aware of that. And if you do make a mistake, you've got to make sure it doesn't affect other people, because if it does, then I personally don't know how I could feel if I'd hindered somebody's career because of my own mistake. Yeah. And I'm very aware of that. And that's something that we're also very aware of Broadside.